two in this conference, the most dangerous team is?
Oh, that is a great
question, man.
Question.
You just had that in your back pocket, huh?
I do talk radio 20
You
hours.
know what? I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say OKC.
After one night, after last night?
Well, has nothing to do with last night. Again, I'm gonna go back and let's talk about this now. Let's look at their record against the good teams. Not the teams that we all think they should be. Let's look at their record against the good teams, against the top teams. They have a winning record. So that tells you right there, when they play the best, they play at their best. And then something you never can discount. When you have a Westbrook and a Paul George and a Carmelo Anthony, you got three of the best players in the entire NBA on your team. And you got last year MVP who averaged a triple-double, and we know how good Paul George is. And then you look at the ancillary players. The thing about OKC is, if Russ controls the game and he dishes the ball and he keeps his shots around 15 to 20.
All right, that's a lot of ifs.
No, but you go look at their record. When he takes 17 or less shots, their record is unbelievable.
Yeah, I think they're undefeated.
They're 19 and 2. Now think about that.
Rain Man upstairs.
Yeah, they're 19 and 2. So you think about that. So when you look, if you're Westbrook and if you're Billy Donovan, you sit down with Russ and you show him these numbers and you say, look, when we pass the ball, we're 19 and 2. So when everybody's touching the ball and you take less than 17 or less shots, we're 19 and 2. We're going to be hard to beat. And this playoff time, and I don't care who you are, it's not about numbers at this thing. At this point, it's about winning.
Congrats, by the way, speaking of which, to Utah. They clinch a playoff spot and officially are in the postseason. So for the first time, the graphic with the X to the left, they're in the 4 spot right now. They would play New Orleans as of right now. Can you sign me up for AD and Gobert in the middle?
Ooh.
Can you sign me up for that?
Yeah, I need to see
that would be fun.
That's going to be some meetings at the rim.
Show me some of that.
I'm looking forward to seeing this postseason. I'm telling you, there's so many teams, so many storylines, so many matchups. It's going to be interesting. Both sides.
Minnesota and Denver got a game in Minnesota, which can very well decide which one of those teams get in. That's what's so great about this season. I mean, it's going to go down. How many times does the season go down to the last game to determine your playoffs?
Both of you guys played against and you coached against Pop. I know there's no Kawhi. I'm not saying they're going to go to the finals because they're not, right? I don't think. But does anybody really want to play San Antonio? Does anyone on that list, even if you win a series, you know that they're going to take you into deep water. You got Ginobili and Parker and Gasol and guys who know how to win. LaMarcus Aldridge is the one in Portland, so he's going to score the basketball. They've won a lot of games. I mean, look, their record's pretty darn good. Do they at least scare somebody? Is there a chance they could knock off a Portland if it was a 6-3 matchup?
Yeah, it's definitely a chance because you look at the play of Rudy Gay of late, and he's been healthy. He's showing that pop. He's being very explosive in the paint. And then you also see the versatility of all those guys on the defensive end of the floor, offensively. They're just clicking. They're playing hard in spite of not having Kawhi Leonard out there.
The difference with this San Antonio team, normally this time of year they've wrapped up seed in their position. They've had to fight all the way into the entire end of the season to get into the playoffs. This team is going to be tested. We know they got one of the greatest coaches to have ever coached.
Ever.
And the thing that I like about San Antonio is this. They develop their players as they go. Look at whoever Pop calls on, whether you've been playing or whether you've been in the G League or whatever, these guys come in, they're ready to play. They give you something positive. Can they win in the first round? Yeah. After that, so. I think it's going to be tough. Because if you go back and just look at their record against Houston, how Houston has dominated them, they just can't score enough, Karan. And again, as good a defensive team as they are, you know this. The offense always has an advantage. And Houston just spreads you out. So first round, possible. After that, it's going to be really, really tough without Kawhi.
We talked about the 4-5. Interesting because they get the Kings, the Spurs, they host them. You figure that's a win. And then they close things out Wednesday at New Orleans, which it's possible based on what we just saw, the winner would play Utah and the loser would play Portland. I got to ask this.
So which one would you rather play?
Well, I got to ask this real quick because take us behind the curtain. Players, forget coaching, as players. If you're sitting there and you're in that game, hypothetically on Wednesday, and you're a team like San Antonio, and you figure you'd rather play Utah or Portland, whoever it was. Would you really? I mean, you're not going to tank the game. I mean, how do you handle that? Because we look on the outside and we'll start to read in.
You won't.
How do you do it? Well, that's what I'm asking.
You won't?
That's how.
Hey.
Tell me the truth. What happens?
The playoffs are about matchups.
Okay.
If you're sitting there, you have a chance to play. Look, no disrespect to no team, but you have a chance to play Portland or Utah.
Who would you want to play?
I'd rather play Portland.
Me too.
Because I understand two things. If you can control Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, you got a chance. Two, Portland has no rim protectors. So they're not going to, once you get past that first line of defense, you can get to the basket. Now, Portland has improved defensively this year, but still, you don't look at Portland as a defensive juggernaut. But when you look at Utah, they're deliberate. They're big. They slow the game down. They muck it up. They make it ugly. And then they got a guy back there, 7'2", with long arms, that he can block 5 shots, but he can change another 10. And he can change the complexity of the game defensively. That's what Utah can do. And plus, their style of play frustrates a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, look, if you one of those teams, you much rather play Portland. No disrespect to Portland, but hey, San Antonio just went there and beat them.
Which means you lose the game.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's about matchups. The playoffs are about matchups.
You take that game in particular, and you try to develop the younger guys as much as possible.
Right.
So you don't try to lose, but you
Pop's a master at that.
Developing your young guys.
Hey.
And rest.
You know what, LaMarcus, I'm only going to play you 15 minutes.
No, my favorite.
Coach, why?
My favorite is.
Don't worry about it. I got you.
He's out with a contusion, whatever.
Absolutely.
A finger contusion.
Yeah. By the way, as was.